Wisconsin might not be the most highly ranked team. I mean, they're not ranked at all coming into the Big House. But we're going to break down everything we know about the Badgers and a heck of a lot more with our quarterback, Jack Tuttle, right here on this episode of Locked On Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday. We are back and doing it. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. I'm your man on the ground, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports Media Group. That's our quarterback, Jack Tuttle, and we are in the pocket with Jack Tuttle. That's where we're at, the pocket with Jack Tuttle. Because you know what, Jack? Some teams, what do they do? Do they all get together in a scrum type formation before plays, or do some teams just look to the sideline for the play? That's us.
Some teams do not get in the huddle, Isaiah. They don't. So it's just a muddle, or they don't, and they just look to the sideline for signals. So you are correct. That is a valid point. We could just be a team right here that's just looking to the sideline. We may not get in the huddle, but there's definitely always a pocket. There's no doubt about that. So. Listen,
we are a tempo show, right? We're constantly trying. We're just trying to catch the everyone off guard. And again, we're not using the term everyone wants to use for the show. We're doing that on purpose at this point because we are reluctant, stubborn, and obstinate. And it's like for the Arrested Development fans out there, it's mock trial with Jay Reinhold is what it is. Thank you to all of our everydayers. Thank you for everyone for making us your first listen as well. We're going to start off talking about Wisconsin and how that Michigan matches up there. Then we're going to get into quarterback and bye week, and then we're going to talk about Justice Haynes. That is the plan for the day, Jack. Wisconsin comes in with the number one run defense. Does that concern you? And kind of what do you see as far as their defense as a whole when it comes to what the Badgers present?
But, Isaiah, you really just hit the nail on the head there right off the rip. They do have a great run defense. They haven't allowed 100 yards rushing on the ground to a team yet. And let's just look at the teams they've played, okay? So they've played Alabama, okay? That's a pretty strong team. They had 72 yards on the ground against Wisconsin, and that was at Wisconsin. So let's just be real there. Alabama's a good opponent. The next strongest opponent would be Maryland, and Maryland doesn't have the best run game. So let's just kind of set that one aside. But they do have a great run defense, and that matches up well versus Michigan because that's what they have been doing great for the first games of the year. And I think there's going to be some strong takes. Somebody came out and said, I think Michigan's going to run for over 175 yards. Others are saying, wow, they're going to have to rely more on the pass offense. And no matter what it is they do, I'm excited for that opportunity for the boys. They're going to have to step up and play a better run defense. That's good for the O-line, number one. And for whatever reason, if they can't run the ball, it's good for Bryce to get these in-game reps in the pass game. And we talked about it last week, right? They need to have some sort of, we want to see more rotation in the receiver room. We know that Donovan McCulley can play. We know that. Okay. We know Marlon Klein and Hogan Hansen are holding the tight end room down, but we want to see a little bit more Andrew Marsh, maybe Kendrick Bell, some other rotations there, right? So this is a great opportunity for this offense to get these in-game reps because the pass game has really hurt Wisconsin. Alabama had a great pass game against them. Malik Washington from Maryland, a true freshman quarterback who's kind of battling with Bryce to be that who's the best true freshman quarterback in the country. Don't get mad at me for saying that. Malik Washington's playing fantastic. So they have been hurt in the pass game, and we'll see. But right now in the Big Ten, they're ranked pretty highly and not allowing any explosive plays in the run game. They're ranked number 2 in the Big Ten, only allowing 6 plays, explosive 10-plus yards on the ground this year. The pass game, they are struggling, allowing 20 plays over 15 yards. and that is 15th in the Big Ten. So it's a great opportunity for the Michigan offense. And Isaiah, I'm hoping to see just a air raid attack this game. Air raid attack.
Well, let me tell you, I just was looking up something here because that got me thinking, right? The number one run defense in the country. Alabama's not been very good at running the football yet this year either. Ty Simpson, not a mobile quarterback, but he did carry the ball 6 times against Wisconsin for 25 yards. That's 4.17 yards per carry.
I think he had the most rushing yards that game for Alabama. I think he did.
When you have a situation, because they haven't faced a truly mobile quarterback, because Ty Simpson isn't really a mobile quarterback, that could present some conflict, if especially, I mean, again, Bryce has done his best work when he's running on passing downs where he's dropping back and then going, or at least showing that look. I think that could, really provide a shot in the arm, for Michigan to be able to really stress their defense, considering like they just haven't had to face that, right? Like even it was a similar thing in 2021. I think that was you were in your 6th year of college football, I think, at that point, but you were still but when Michigan traveled to Wisconsin, it was kind of the same thing where it was they had the number one run defense and everyone wondered how that was going to go. They didn't have to face JJ until late in that game. It was more Cade McNamara, and they still made things work. That's a different deal this year where they're going to have to face Bryce, who can run the football, and having to defend essentially the whole field as a result. Other side of the ball, where do you feel like when you look at the Michigan defense against the Wisconsin offense? What do you think are some challenges there?
Yeah, and to kind of just agree with what you're saying, I do think Michigan is going to be the best run offense that Wisconsin's faced this year. So it should be a really good matchup to watch up front. It's super exciting for us football junkies to watch, that battle up front, that grind. So that'll be a blast, and I'm excited to see that. I think on the flip side of it, it's not as exciting for the Wisconsin offense. Let's be honest. They've had kind of an identity struggle over the past 2 years, right? They were going to air raid last year. It was a weird kind of, just identity that it didn't work out. There was, it was going from like pure pro style offense to like air raid, wide splits. That didn't work out with Coach Fickle. Now it's kind of like a power spread offense where they're trying to redefine their run game. And the run game has gotten a little bit better for them, although the stats don't truly reflect it in their yardage amount. It's gotten a little bit better. The O-line has struggled for them. And then obviously, the quarterback just injury with Billy Edwards for them, right? And then they're bringing in Danny O'Neal, who's he's throwing the ball for the most out of that whole room, and obviously because Billy's hurt, but he has 5 touchdowns. He's kind of the reason that offense is moving for the most part, but he also has 5 turnovers, and you just can't turn the ball over. Like, he's got 5 touchdowns, 5 turnovers, and that's just brutal for the Wisconsin offense. That they lose a tough one to Maryland at home before their bye week. Wisconsin and Michigan were on bye weeks before they're playing each other, and it's just tough to lose against Maryland at home. And although Maryland's better this year, but they're coming into this game 2-2 at Michigan. It's just going to be super hard for this offense to find itself this game against Wake Martindale's defense, because let's be honest, I don't know if either one of us want to stand in the pocket against that Michigan D-line. Okay, let's just be honest. No one wants to do that. And Danny O'Neal kind of tripped up in some interviews this week. It was interesting, and people thought Billy Edwards might come back. Danny, I think O'Neal's kind of slipped up and said he's getting most of the reps this week. So I'm assuming we're going to see him at quarterback this week in the Big House.
Well, I hope he likes Jayshon Barham, because he's going to be getting very, very familiar with him. They're going to be very friendly. Let me just put it that way. Let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about what it takes to be a quarterback in the bye week, and how you think maybe Bryce has kind of attacked this, and the advantages and maybe disadvantages of that. We'll do that here in just a moment. But before we do, Mazda delivers confidence with every ride. More IIHS Top Safety Plus Picks awards than anyone else, because Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, we're going to continue on here in just a moment, but before we do, most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. With maximizing investments, increasing your savings rate, easily reviewing finances with your partner and or financial advisor, keeping a clear view of your financial health week to week and long term, Monarch can really help you with all of that stuff. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off of your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, promo code LOCKEDONCollege for 50% off your first year. All right, Jack. So as we continue to look to the sidelines for the play call here, I think that one of the interesting things is Bryce had 4 weeks on, and we're going to see the same kind of ebb and flow of the whole season, right? Essentially, with the home away of it all until he gets to the final quadrant. Got 5 games here before you get another break. But how do you, like, when you're a quarterback and you get that week off? Is that something that is beneficial? Do you want to keep playing every week? Kind of, how do you attack that bye week as a quarterback?
Yeah, so a lot of people think that playing quarterback isn't as hard as it really is, and just think you just go out there, throw the ball around. No. So first of all, quarterback is a lot of mental strain as well as physical strain if you're kind of a running guy, getting hit a lot. So let's be honest, this bye week is good for Bryce, because let's think about what this kid has gone through, right? He's what, 18 years old right now, Isaiah? Is that what he is? 18 years old? And he's he just started a game at Michigan, game 1. And do you know how much stress that probably was on him? Okay. He's gone through a big game at Oklahoma, took some hits. He lost. He obviously probably was frustrated about that. A lot of emotional strain. Did a good job coming back against Nebraska, right? But I do think it's just been a roller coaster over the first 4 weeks. And let's be honest, the kid probably needed, a couple days just sit on the couch and watch some Netflix or whatever, and it may be. He did, but I see his family. He probably needed some time to do that. And as much as people don't want to hear that, he probably needed just to, take my mind off of it for an hour. Okay. The next thing is, during practice that week, I hope they just dug into the pass game. They got some good rotation with the receivers. They got connected. They really found themselves and what they want to do in the pass game, whether it's, implement more play action, do some more quick game, open up some stuff. And that's more on the coaching staff more than anybody, but just the players executing it that week in practice. I hope they got live opportunity scrimmage reps, even if the backups were in. And the young receivers got an opportunity in those opportunity scrimmage, which I'll explain here in a second, to show what they can do. And maybe even some of the backup quarterbacks had a little competition. Competition breeds success. And I just pray that was happening this week. And from when I was there, I know it's happening. So when I'm talking about opportunity scrimmage, it's just scrimmages with young guys that are full speed, full tackle. And it's a chance for these young guys to show what they can do in a live setting, because oftentimes in just a tag off setting, you don't really know what's going to happen. Okay. Like this kid can make a juke, make 3 people miss and go score. So that's what it is. And I'm praying that a lot of that happened for these guys. And for Bryce, he got a chance to continue developing in the pass game and, got that mental reset.
Yeah, and I think with the opportunity scrimmage, I think it'll be interesting because Sherrone Moore mentioned both in his Monday press conference as well as the Monday radio show, Andrew Marsh is a guy who's really starting to stand out. And so it sounds like he had a really good week. You've seen Andrew Marsh. You're a lot higher on him, I think, than the average person who doesn't know anything, which is mostly. I mean, you know things the other people don't, right? So what does Andrew Marsh bring to the table as a wide receiver, provided that he can kind of step into his potential?
Yeah, so I'm going to compare him to somebody, and it might cause an outrage, but I don't care. I don't care, Isaiah. I'm going to compare him to somebody who I think he's like. So one of my best friends, Chris Olave is one of my best friends. He's going to be one of my groomsmen in my wedding. And there's obviously that rivalry between him and I because he was Ohio State guy.
People around here love Chris Olave. What are you talking about? Locked on Wolverines.
They despise him. And so Chris and I have always had that kind of best friend. He went to Ohio, I went to Michigan. We obviously have that rivalry between us, but he's still my best friend. Okay, like it's a sensitive topic, 4-0 versus past years, but I'm not going to say anything to him about it.
You San Diego County people, you don't care what rivalries. You don't care about the rivalries. You still become no kidding anyway.
So in my mind, Andrew is a very silky smooth route runner. He's fast, but he's a strider. It's not like he's striding, and it's almost like he's gliding. He's gliding. It's not like track. He's moving his legs really fast. He's just a long sprinter, and it's kind of gorgeous, to be honest. It's what you want. Silky smooth, kind of like Chris. Chris is the same way. He doesn't look like he's running fast, but he is. And similar body type. I think those two kind of match up well. But Andrew, I think, is needing a little bit more time to develop in the way of just kind of getting his, body ready. I think him and Chris are doing the same types of things. When Chris is true freshman year, he only played a little bit. Andrew's kind of playing a little bit, but stepping into a more prominent role as the year goes on, I hope, because he has that type of breakout ability, and he's going to have to be one of the best receivers for the Michigan Wolverines for the years to come. I think he has that potential. He's extremely smart. I met with him, all winter, all spring. We got into those individual meetings. He wanted to attack the playbook. He came up with Jamar Browder every single day. And, Coach Tutt, what is this? What's this concept? What's our split on this? He wanted to attack the process. So everyone should just know that kid is going to do everything he can to be great and help this team win.
Now, one thing about Chris Olave is you're right. He did not really come on until the end of his freshman year. Unfortunately for the people who watch and listen to this podcast, his first kind of real breakout game came in that 2018 Michigan game. However, there wasn't as much of a need for him at Ohio State that year because, they were loaded wide receivers. Michigan has a need for Andrew Marsh right now. So we'll see if that ends up happening. Let's get into a little bit about Justice Haynes, because obviously he's doing okay. He's doing all right, I guess. Just, you'd like to see him pick it up a little bit more. 75-yard touchdowns aren't cutting it. It needs to be more 80.
It's not good enough.
But we'll get into that here in just a moment. But before we do, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, and even followed the live lines during games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something extra happening on the action. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, we're going to continue on momentarily. But before we do, this episode is brought to you by Square. If your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood. I didn't say that well. Certain businesses that make the neighborhood, right? These are places that become an extension of home, whether it's the sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game day, or that beloved local chain that is rooted in your community for years. These businesses are what bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. So I'm going to highlight a place that I actually went to today that uses Square, and that is Iggy's Eggies, right there on Liberty, right before State Street. If you want the most delicious breakfast sandwich you've ever had, you got to go there. It's they've got a location in Detroit, a location in Ann Arbor. It's bar none, par excellence. I'm telling you, you got to go there. So make sure you check out Iggy's Eggies. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 billion neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. All right. So, Jack, Justice Haynes has been underachieving to a great degree. Really disappointed in him. He didn't get a single rushing touchdown in week 5. Not one. You know, I know, I understand. People look at it and say, well, he didn't have a game. Technicality.
Doesn't matter.
Like,
score.
He did nothing on Saturday. Nothing. So you don't want to see it. But anyhow, you and I have been talking about Justice Haynes for a long time now. I mean, you and I have been talking, apart from each other, we've been talking about Justice Haynes for 9 months. Together, we've been talking about him since August. A lot of people are now starting to kind of find out what we've been saying all along. How good is this guy?
You know, people thought I was crazy when I said he could be a top 5, top 10 back in Michigan history. Oh, you know, he doesn't know what he's talking about. There's no way that Justice is that good. Oh, can we see it now? You know, we've been talking about this, like you said. I'm not going to lie to you. I am not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say something I don't mean. Justice Haynes has the potential to be a Heisman candidate this year. It's all about production when it comes to that, though. He has the talent. Can he keep producing these numbers this year? Can he keep doing this? And if he does, he's going to be, where is it, New York, or did they change the location? I don't even. Is it still New York?
Still New York, yeah.
I never know if they change the location nowadays. He can be sitting in New York, and it could be a big moment for Michigan. You know, I think the team's going to have to keep doing well. As you know, the Heisman, I'm assuming, committee takes in wins and losses to this whole thing because of the popularity and all that. But he has the potential. He has the potential, folks. We both said it here. We've been saying it. Justice Haynes is one of the most athletic running backs to come through Michigan. He's fast. He's twitchy. He's a leader. You see that fire in him. We saw that little scuffle on the sidelines at, Oklahoma with him and Bryce. A lot of people worried about that. A lot of people worried about that. But I think that the fire that those two players bring to the offense is something that Michigan didn't have last year. Let's just be honest. There was not a lot of that energy, a lot of that just fire with any individual on the team last year. And, watching as a big brother now to this offense, it's kind of cool to see that. It's cool to see two guys that care so much, and just have that demeanor within themselves that, I hate losing. I'm not going to lose. So they got into a bickering. They're fine. That's just part of football, okay? That shows those guys care. That shows the fire within Justice Haynes. And I think he's going to keep going. We'll see what happens against Wisconsin. Hopefully we can get the pass game going more. I really want that. But, I hope Justice goes for another 100 against Wisconsin.
I mean, it kind of needs to happen at this point, right? Because it's like if you just do it in the first 4 games, you don't want to see that streak end. He is on pace at the moment to have the best single season of any Michigan running back of all at any point in time, right? Like that. Yeah. Think of how incredible that is. How much more do you think that of his game that we haven't seen too, right? Because we've seen the home runs. A lot of teams have been kind of gearing up against the run, which means that we're not necessarily seeing the consistent, 4 or 5 yards a carry that we saw from, Blake essentially. But Because I think Blake has kind of become that new gold standard for Michigan fans. I mean, for people my age, maybe it's more Mike Hart. For people more your age, you might go back to Willie Heston. That was, I think, Fielding H. Yost. But nonetheless, that one fell on deaf ears. How much do you think he can continue to have that success? And even in weeks like this where they're going up against a really tough run defense?
I think they can definitely get him the ball in different ways. I think his threat in the pass game hasn't been shown as much. They try and throw him some screens. Obviously, hasn't worked. It didn't work out versus Oklahoma. Maybe a couple of attempts have been successful, but I think there is more to show with him in the pass game, whether it's option routes, whether he's standing out there and empty, whether they motion him out and get a matchup on a linebacker and just send him downfield, kind of like we saw with Donovan. You remember that? D-Ed? He would find a matchup. I think it was versus Purdue. I think in 2023, it was versus Purdue. Donovan ran out there. He got a mismatch with safety or linebacker. JJ threw it down the left sideline. I think that's stuff we can see with Justice. There's no limit or ceiling on what that kid, can do. I'm just super excited to see what and how they use him, just to get him the ball. He needs touches. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do.
Get him some Texas routes, get him
some Texas routes. I like that.
It just came to mind all of a sudden. I'm just like, you're talking about getting him the football, and it's like, it doesn't have to be this uber complicated thing, it just doesn't have to be split out wide and running typical wide receiver routes. Give him the Texas route. Love to see that. All right, I think that's all we got right now. I think we will reconvene with the game next week as we approach and attack the Wisconsin game. Hopefully discussing a big Michigan win. Plan for tomorrow, even though I have not talked. This is a theme, especially this week. Not really sure whether or not coming off the bye week we'll have Cotter Stallions with the manifesto. I'm assuming we will. That will be the plan. And if not, we'll improvise, adapt, and overcome. But thank you to Jack for joining as usual. Thank you to all of you for watching and listening. We will talk to you again very soon. Peace.